Hi, hello everybody. Hello Melike, Bahareh, and Tone from NRK. Melike and Bahareh, you're the writers of the new NRK series Immigrant-ish. I was thinking about pitching it myself, but I thought it would be better to ask directly from the creators. So either Melike or Bahareh, could you pitch us Immigrant-ish?
I'll go. Immigrant-ish is a series about three friends who are all struggling with the balance of fitting into the Norwegian society and the cultural background, each of their cultural backgrounds. The series is set in Oslo. The friends are all, plus minus 30 years old, and they each have their challenges in just their family lives, their work lives, and their love lives.
Great. I think we have a trailer to show right now. Let's go to the trailer.
Jeg spurte hvor du kommer fra.
Jeg har norsk pass.
Det var ikke det jeg mente. Hvor er du kommer fra?
Jeg er født i Iran, hvis for det du lurte på. Eller må jeg ha blå øyne og blondt hår?
Det jeg lurer på er hvilket fly du kom med. Du da? Du bodde lenge i Norge?
Jeg er født der.
Ja. Spennende.
Kanskje du har en sånn der kvartlivskrise?
Og for de norske piker.
Nå er jo mer integrert enn meg, han.
Du kan ikke si det.
Han trenger ikke å integrere seg. Han kommer fra Norge.
Skål på.
باید مواظب باشی خودتو انگاشتنامای مردم نکنی.
Herregud, jeg har bare skrevet en sak.
چه مربوطه که دختر من عکس میگیره یا نمیگیره؟
Hele det tyrkiske miljøet vet at du er gravid.
Det tyrkiske miljøet hvem jeg er.
Sana uygun biri değil.
ਪਤਾ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਬੋਟੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਰੋਜ਼ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਖਾਣਾ ਬਣਾਵੇ.
Jeg har tenkt å gifte meg med Tina.
Tina, der går mine drømmer i tusen knas.
Hva vet du om hva som står i Koranen?
Jeg vet i hvert fall nok til at jeg ikke skal la meg jernvaske.
Fariba, kanskje du skal ta så ligge litt lavt nå?
Jeg må jo smi mens jernet er varmt.
Jernet er ikke varmt. Det brenner.
Hvis du skal være min kone, så skal vi ha noen regler.
Fuck deg.
Ro deg ned. Du, Helin, ro deg ned.
Slå meg, eller?
Jeg vil at du skal møte mamma.
Jeg spiser svin. Elsker pølse, bacon. Jeg kommer aldri til å slutte å spise det.
What a wonderful trailer. Maybe we'll begin with you, Melike and Bahareh. From what I've read and what I've saw of your career, you've both done some theater and wrote for soap opera for TV. That's on this writing for this soap opera that you made. This is your first major series for TV. How did you meet, and when and how did the idea come forth to write Immigrant-ish together?
So we were working together on the soap opera Hotel Caesar. We'd known each other for a few years, and then we noticed that every time we were together, we were talking about our families and just like funny scenes and funny things that would happen to us because of our diverse background. And I think we just started with thinking like we should have a series about us, like about people like us. And we actually just started to write some scenes out from our own life and test it. And then it became a pitch.
So did you directly pitch this to NRK, or how's the genesis of the project going?
We actually tried to, after writing some of the scenes and figuring out that, this has the potential of becoming a series, we sent it to some production companies. We tried to set up some meetings to see if we could pitch it to someone. But the interest was lacking. We were invited to a type of diversity meeting at NRK, where I actually met Tuna, and we were doing a meet and greet, and she asked me, well, who are you? What do you do? And I just happened to tell her about Immigrant-ish. And she said, we have to set up a meeting right away because this is something that I've been in the lookout for, but no production companies seem to be sending it my way. So let's have a meeting. And from the initial meeting, she was very positive. She was very fired up about this idea, and that's when we started developing it.
Tone, Bahareh just said no. You told her that no production companies were sending you projects like this your way. Why do you think that is?
Because I think the whole branch, the whole in the production company, all the production companies, they are dominated by people just as blonde as me, and I think that they don't. It's so important that we who are in this business integrate in the multicultural society. And I think it's really a responsibility for a public broadcaster. We are public service and we are going to serve the public. And we have, in the last decade, been, quite a diverse society. And we have to give room for new voices, for new talent with different background. So I was very happy when I met Bahareh, because I don't know that many writers and creators with multicultural background. And for a decade, I've been standing each year in front of meetings we have with all the production companies, asking for them. And then I'm looking for proposals and stories which reflects that we live in a multicultural society. And I look out on the 200 people perhaps that are gathered there, and most of them, they are just as blonde as me. So I was very, and I think that it is also our responsibility to develop new voices, develop new talent from all corners of society. This is something very close to my heart.
We can see that. Thank you, Tone. So from there, so you pitched the project. Tono's very interested and very excited about it. What was the process for developing the project and the writing for Immigrant-ish? Maybe Melike?
Yes, and then we were offered, I think it was a few months of development, and then Tone asked us if we wanted to do the development in-house or a production company. And I guess both of us were very eager to do it at NRK, because we felt that if we're close to the heart of the public service broadcast, it will be our vision and our cultural specific themes would be protected more and given more space to do it the way we wanted to do it. So we were at NRK for a few months, and then we developed, I guess it was we wrote 2 episodes, and then we developed the whole season and the concepts and our dogmas, and after that it was I think a lot of people at NRK read it. It was very much liked, and then we wrote the rest before it was greenlit. Yeah.
So yeah, you just pointed that out. What's interesting also about Immigrant-ish is that it's an in-house production, which is less and less the case for public broadcasters and broadcasters all around the world that tend to externalize most of their production, even though there is this kind of movement to regain power or property over your content in this platform-driven world where rights to content is basically everything. So what I find interesting is that in general, when you think in-house production, you think like traditional TV, maybe teams that are more used to newscasts, live casts, and stuff like that. How was it, Tone, to work that kind of project that needed to be modern and edgy as it is in its pace and in its visual impact? How easy was it to develop that in-house with the talents you already had?
It was easy to develop it, and for a couple of decades now, it's been at least one decade. It's the drama has been dominated by the independent sector, and I think it's so important that we, as public broadcaster, do not only respond to proposals coming from outside landing on our desk. We need to be proactive. We need to go and hunt for the stories that we want to tell to our audience and for the people that are going to tell it. So I think it's really, really important that public broadcasters go out of their office and search for, the best stories. And, the pendulum swings in every kind of business. And with in-house production, a broadcaster can also set the premises on content in a larger, broader way, and we can set the premises on the resources that we are going to spend. I think it's important that we do, the big fat drama series, but also, series that doesn't require so much resources. Because then we can make a bigger volume. So because the drama has been dominated by the indie sector for a decade, it has also been a growing hunger in-house to prove that they are, it's possible, that they can show that they have the skill and they can do it with cost-effective and resources. So we had a lot of freedom. The director, he's a freelancer. He's not part of the permanent staff in NRK, but all the technical staff, the DOP, the production designer, all of them are in-house. And they've been very flexible. We've been working with multi-functions so that people haven't had only one task. They've been doing different jobs, and that has been very good. And then we have made a series on an okay budget, which we are very proud of.
So yeah, you maybe we'll get back to that later, but Immigrant-ish, in addition to being an in-house production, is also a cost-effective production. So so quite interesting in the world we live in. I am not very surprised because I know cost-effective productions. So and I think they're the right way to go. But we'll get back to that later. I wanted to talk about the cast and its diversity, because from my viewpoint, from my point of view, commissioning series back in France also for younger audiences, I see how difficult it is to change the habits and the reflexes of a whole industry to go looking for different faces, different actors, different actresses, because mechanically the number of people from diverse ethnic groups in the overall pool of actors and actresses is limited, it is more difficult to find diverse actors and actresses in a diverse cast than not. And that's something we've been struggling with for a long time in France, because usually, and because of the nature of production and the way it needs to move forward fast, usually it needs more of an effort to go get these casts and find them, because a part of them are either not professional actors, so you have to do casting sauvage, which is like casting out of the normal the agencies and stuff like that. So that was something that really interested me in Immigrant-ish, because the panel of roles and characters is very wide. There are very few non-diverse characters in Immigrant-ish. So how did you pull off finding and bringing together a cast so diverse and in such numbers in the end such a small country as Norway? You guys are 5 million people, so the pool of actors in a 5 million people country is even smaller than it is, say, in France or in other parts of the world. How did you manage that?
We started to, before we greenlit the show, we started to map out where are the actors that we don't know about. So we were kind of researching at theaters, different parts of the country, different corners of society, even before we knew exactly how the characters would be. And it was also kind of extra challenging with Immigrant-ish because it's bilingual or trilingual, or it's many languages. So the actors should be able to speak Norwegian and the mother tongue, which is Farsi, Punjabi, and Turkish. Is Farsi Bahareh? Yeah, I'm right. Yeah. Yeah. So that was an extra challenge, but we now have this big catalog with of people, so we can go and search for them later. And then Bahareh and Melike can also say something about this, because they have also used the network.
Yeah, I think part of the reason that we wanted to do this in-house at NRK with the national broadcaster was because we knew they would help us in this task and give us the resources to actually dig deep and find people that you normally wouldn't take the time to look for outside, like in a production company, because the resources are a little less, and the national broadcaster can use this as part of a catalog and they can build on it. They can use it for later as well. So we found a lot of new talent, but we also ended up having to use a lot of amateurs and just allowing new talent to shine. And I think Melike can actually talk a little bit more about that.
Yes, and also we were looking at ways to do it, because it was very important for us that the language, obviously, but also that we really wanted to try to find a Turkish person for a Turkish role and etc. And we actually ended up casting one of the Turkish adults, I'll call it. They're all adults, but the more adult ones, from Germany. And decided that she didn't speak Norwegian we could write the scenes without her speaking Norwegian, so that worked. And then we had someone from Bosnia, Bosnian background, to play Turkish, but he wouldn't speak Turkish. So we did a few of those things, but it actually worked out quite well.
Interesting. So, Tone, you said yourself in 2016, I think, during this very festival, that difference is a source of inspiration that can make us grow. And it seems that projects such as Immigrant-ish can and indeed would be able to help Norwegian as a society as a whole grow. Is that part of your role as a broadcaster?
Yeah, I think definitely. Our primary task is to strengthen democracy and kind of also to glue the nation together, to build a national identity. And then that cannot be one single uniform. It needs to be pluralistic. It is also important that we expose diversity within the minorities, that we don't expose immigrants as one group, because they are just as different as the major population. And I think it is the target group for this series is, mainly people with immigrant background in their 30s. But my hope and ambition is that it should not only be for people who can identify with the character, it should also be a peephole into a slice of society that you don't know so much about, so that it can take the part of society that hasn't integrated in the multicultural society into a journey. And on the, in the news and in documentaries and so on, it is not a big variety of what you show of minority. It is a lot of terrorists, radicals, so on. So it's so important also to show the normal life, so that we can.
About that, about archetypes, about cliches, and the way minorities are usually portrayed on TV, in fiction, and out of fiction. What I find interesting with Immigrant-ish is the way it kind of twists and breaks the breaking of the archetypes. This might sound a little weird coming out like that, but it's pretty clear in the first scene of the first episode, and I think we could show that scene right now.
Hei, hei.
Hei.
Fariba Asadi. Hvor kommer du fra? Jeg spurte hvor du kommer fra.
Jeg har norsk pass.
Det var ikke det jeg mente. Hvor er du kommer fra?
Jeg er født i Iran, hvis det var det du lurte på. Men jeg har bodd her i snart 30 år og hatt norsk pass. I over 20 av dem, så er det vel greit at jeg svarer norsk? Eller må jeg ha blå øyne og blondt hår? Er det navnet mitt som er rart, kanskje? Tror du jeg blir godtatt som norsk? Hvis jeg får blondt hår, blå øyne og bytter navn?
Det jeg lurer på, er hvilket fly du kommer i dag.
Norwegian. Fra New York.
Velkommen hjem.
Takk.
what's interesting in this scene is that you get to the point where the question Fariba is asked when she comes back from New York at the customs booth is one I've been asked, and I think you guys have been asked before. Where are you from? I'm French or Norwegian or whatever. Yeah, but where are you from? Where are you coming from? And it's something that comes up even today on a regular basis in 2020 in discussions I have with people I've just met or strangers, what have you. What I find interesting is that I still have to break that archetype and to get in kind of like the defensive mode. Fariba gets in, going like, "What do you mean? I'm French. I was born here. I don't understand your question," and put the people in front of you in a little awkwardness. What's interesting here is that it seems like when on this first scene, it seems like Norway doesn't have an archetypal, or I'm not going to go as far as racist, but like a kind of a bigot mind or closed mind, because it's actually the character herself that assumes this kind of attitude from the people in front. Do you think that is the case? That like we're past that in Norway, and now it's all about exaggerating and or having an exaggerated reaction to that, or yeah, Melike I think had that in mind.
Yes, no, we're definitely not past racism, but when developing the show, Bahareh and I, when we got into it, we were thinking, okay, so you're born in Iran, moved to Norway when you were 6. I was born in Turkey. I moved to Norway when I was 6 months old. We have the same experiences of having a diverse background. And then we started working with the ideas, and like, no, we don't. Our perception of this is different in many ways. We each have our own story. And then we brought that into the development of the characters, and also this sort of twist, because we were looking at it as, okay, sometimes Fariba has obviously experienced this as racism as well. That's why she has that's why she reacts the way she does. And then sometimes she doesn't meet a racist. Sometimes she just meets someone who wants to know where she's coming from. So it's, I think it's both, definitely.
Yeah, and I think we just needed to show the bigger aspect of it, that, you know, not everything you meet is racist. Like you can, like the scene right here, there are experiences you have in your daily life that when you've experienced them enough times, you start seeing the pattern and you say, okay, this is stereotypical, this is racist, this is not. But then sometimes the lines become kind of blurry, and we have a saying in Norway where you meet yourself at the door, which basically your own prejudice you meet face to face. And that's what happens to Fariba here. She's just used to being approached in a racist manner, so she starts expecting it everywhere, even where it doesn't exist.
Can we watch the first scene from episode 2, just to talk a little bit more about this? Yes, Amit is having dinner with his girlfriend and his girlfriend's parents.
Jeg elsker jo indisk mat, men det her har jeg ikke spist før.
Jeg elsker indisk mat, ja, men dette pad thai.
At det
pad thai.
Er det thai? Nydelig smaker. Håper ikke dere har stått og kokkelert på kjøkkenet hele dag.
Vet du hva, det faktisk Amit som har laget all maten her. Selv om han har vært på jobb hele natt og skal på jobb etterpå.
Hører du det på? Kanskje du kan lære noe?
Han er jo mer integrert enn meg, han.
Pappa.
Ja.
Du kan ikke si det.
Nei, så det er bra.
Nei. Amit, han trenger ikke å integrere seg. Han kommer fra Norge.
Ja, men jeg sier jo bare at deres kultur... Så, ja, men hør nå da, i deres kultur så er det jo sånn at mannen jobber, og så er det kvinnen som lager mat. Ja, det må jo gå an å si det. Det er jo sånn det er. Er det ikke sånn det er, Amit?
Ja, noen ganger stemmer det.
Ja, stemmer det.
Men i hvert fall, jeg kjenner mange innvandrerkvinner som jobber, jeg.
Ja.
Jeg gjør jo det. Helin, Fariba og Kadesha og Priyanka og... Ja. Ja, jeg trenger ikke å sitte her og ramse på alle jeg kjenner heller.
Jeg tror du nettopp gjorde det.
Ja, så har du alle de der fine damene som står langs Skippergata, vet du. Ja, de kommer fra henne igjen.
Nei, pappa.
Ja, men jobber jo de også.
Nei, slutt. Vær så snill.
Skål da, på.
Vet du, skål.
Skjønte ikke den, ja.
So yeah, pretty interesting and personally, I wouldn't say difficult, but like relatable scene to watch. Melike, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes, it was very interesting with the scene because I think it was one of the first scenes we actually wrote as a test. It wasn't in, like, before we had the structure. We knew that we wanted a scene like this. And then when we were discussing it a lot in editing, I remember, Tone, because you were saying, do these people exist? Like, well, what are these people? And then we said, Tone, you're not like this, but there are a bunch of Norwegian people who would react like this, and it's very relatable. And I'm not even sure you can call the parents racist or the dad racist. He's just ignorant, I guess. And obviously they like their son-in-law. They don't have a problem with him, and he's also in a role where he's thinking, I'm not going to be a victim. I'm just going to joke back. Like, that's his defense mechanism in this.
No, I mean, exactly. That's his defense mechanism, and that's something that you do. You understand that it's not black and white. People aren't either racist or not. Sometimes the lines are blurry. A lot of the time, it's just lack of knowledge. You know, you say things, you think you're in a comfortable spot where you can joke about things that might make other people uncomfortable, but they also know that you're not trying to make them feel uncomfortable, so they overextend themselves and try to laugh even louder at your, racist jokes, just so you understand that, we're on the same page. We understand each other. I know you are on my team. I'm on your team, but the lines again are blurry.
That's also one of the problems with these kind of situations, is that when you recount them afterwards, or when you tell friends about them or talk about them, people usually go to you and go like, why didn't you call them out? That was a racist comment, that was a racist joke, that was ignorant or insensitive. And you're like, these are my future wife's parents, or my boss, or a figure of authority, and stuff like that. And what I found very interesting with Amit is that for me, he's kind of like the old school integration figure, like that I've been in the role in, and I'm sure you guys have been in the shoes of over during your life, where you're just like, this doesn't really hurt anyone except for me, so maybe we should just like pass on to something else and not make a big deal out of it. And it seems like in the world we're in right now, and in the situation we're in right now, and with voices coming out more and more, don't you think that, and I know that doesn't link directly to Amit right now in this first season, but if there was a second season of Immigrant-ish, seeing how the world is evolving and voices are coming out in voices from minorities are coming out in this situation in this time. Do you think Amit could be able to call out on those microaggressions with diplomacy or whatever, but just like put them out there? Because one of the things that I've realized is that if you don't tackle the subject, it goes on. If it happened to me when I was in university, I had those microaggressions and micro and little jokes from here to there, and after 2 years of getting along with them, one day I said, "Yeah, no, this is not funny, and this is hurting, and I'm not okay with it." And the reaction, which I completely understood, of everybody else was like, "But you've been like laughing with us for 2 years, so how can you now tell us that is a problem?" So that's very interesting with Amrit. The kind of like hole he's digging himself in. Do you see him as a person coming out of this hole, and how do you think he would confront it, if ever he would?
I think it's part of the immigrant multicultural growing pains. It's something that we all in some aspects have to deal with. It's something that we're all trying to, for a long time, just like put under the rug, not talk about, laugh away. But at some point, like you're saying, it happened to you. It has happened to me. It happens to a lot of my friends who come from diverse backgrounds. At some point, you reach a level where you want to speak up, you want to say something. And with the climate in the world today, now is absolutely the time. We were talking just the other day, Melike and I, about how there are subjects that we're bringing up in Immigrant-ish that we at the time felt were very sore, very big. We were, and we still are, unsure about how the public will perceive them. But if we were writing this today and right now, we would probably be much more bold in our writing. And I think the writing, the stories would have developed a little different. But I think it's also very interesting that you bring up, a possible season 2 of this, where we'll hopefully have time to develop just that and show the different layers of it, because there was just so many layers to it. There are so many different realities in this. A lot of, like Melike was also explaining earlier, she and I have a very, very different views on, or experiences, I should say, not views, but experiences of what it was like to grow up a brown girl in Norway. So, yeah, maybe Melike wants to elaborate.
Yeah, I think Amrit definitely needs to understand that he can be both. I think he's in season 1 trying to either be this or that, but he can obviously tell people that something hurts, or yeah. But yeah, I think through our 3 characters, we're really trying to explore how they're identifying with being Norwegian. Like Fariba is obviously more concerned about becoming Norwegian. She says it multiple times. That's why she's the one in the first scene being asked where she's from. And Helen is more comfortable in being both Turkish and Norwegian, but she has more issues about what direction her family is taking. So I think we're very happy with being able to show that these 3 have very different views on identity and Norwegianness. Yes.
How about you, Tana? Do you think the series could have been, because okay, when was this shot?
Last summer.
Last summer. So yeah, a year ago. So, and it was written 2 years ago now.
No, 1.
Yeah, it was written
2 years ago.
shot 1 year.
2 years ago, yeah.
Okay. So would you agree that if the project arrived on your table today, it would need to be more bold than it is right now? Or maybe more outspoken?
Yes, but it also, I think this is also part of the writer's journey. Because what I find within, not only working with these shows, but also with other shows that deals with diversity, I think there is more censorship, more self-censorship. It is than with other shows. I can say with comedy and so on, there's no censorship at all. I mean, it's people are just throwing it out sometimes. But I think we need to be bold, and I think we need to take the risk of being criticized. And the social control mechanism is much stronger within some minority groups, I think, than in the general Norwegian society. And of course, I think we need to be bold. And I very much love the 4th episodes that deals with the parents.
Yeah.
And how they are also in between, trying to live up to the expectations of the Iranian society and being a father. And this is also something that I think, a large part of the population can identify with, but it's more clearer in minority groups.
Maybe we can watch that clip.
The control is stronger.
Okay.
But we need to risk. We need to be bold, and we need to take critics. Be threatened. We need that.
Let's watch that clip, and you guys can come back to it and discuss it. Is that okay?
Yes. So we are going to watch a clip where Fariba's father, Mehdi, is meeting his friends at a coffee shop. This is after a previous meeting with them where they made fun of him and his daughter, and he felt offended and left. So this is his return to his group of friends.
کسی سرش کرده بر فکر میکنم کاملا همینه
ما زیاد نخور بابا
خبر همه جا پیچیده این رفته از همه داره پنهان میکنه که هیچ اتفاق آقا مهدی بالاخره طاقت نیاوردی و دوباره سر و کلت پیدا شد
خوبید؟
خوش اومدی
قربان شما
ببین داشتم در مورد دختر حسین حرف میزدم نمیدونم شنیدی یا نه
نه چی شده؟
دوباره دخترش داره طلاق میگیره
ای بابا
برای بار دوم حالا بیچاره حسن روش نمیشه از خونه بیاد بیرون خبر همه جا پیچیده
نه بابا باید دعوتش کنیم بیاد اینجا
نه بابا این حرفا چی داری میگه عزیز من؟ میگم اصلا نمیتونه بیاد بیرون روش نمیشه
چرا نتونه؟ جمع ما که یه جمع خودمونیه بی خطره همون علی آقای خودمون مگه پسرش 2 سال تو زندان نبود؟ میبینید که حالا پیش ما نشسته راحت هم داره به چشمای ما نگاه میکنه دختر آقا غلام 2 تا بچه داره از 2 تا مرد هیچ که هم باش مشکلی نداره راحت هم تو چشم ما نگاه میکنه میبینید که اصلا خود تو تازگی ها شنیدم دختر کوچیکت برای بار 4 داره نامزدیشو به هم میزنه.
ببین مهدی
مگه نه؟
کارت درست نیست اصلا. اومدی اینجا نشستی و داری پتی همه رو آب میندازی.
ببین دوست من
برخورد صد البته
اینی که درست نیست اینه که هر روز صبح تا شب بشینی اینجا مردم رو ببری زیر ذره‌بین همون ایرادهایی ازشون بگیری که خودمون داریم. خیلی راحت برای مردم و بچه هاشون حرف در میاریم. ولی اگه کسی این کارو بکنه و پای بچه های ما رو بکشه وسط به همون بر میخوره. بچه های ما که خودشون نخواستن از ایران بیان بیرون، ما اونها رو آوردیم. وی بور این ارگانو. اینو میدونید؟ بچه های ما دارن بهترین تلاشاشون رو میکنن. ما هم سعی میکنیم بهشون کمک کنیم. وضعمون هم که خودتون میدونید خیلی بهتر از اونایی که حالا تو ایران موندن. بچه های ما
نه از ایران که افتضاحه. چی بگه آدم؟ نمیدونم واقعا آدم چی بگه. آخه طی 1 سال قیمت گوجه فرنگی 5 برابر بشه.
خبر سیب زمینی پیاز غریبه است خیلی تو.
Okay, so obviously pretty emotional and strong thing is seen. Is that the kind of relationship? Because of course, I mean, you can't help but think, and we already talked about it, how your personal experience fed Immigrant-ish and the screenplay. Is it situation you found yourself in, and more interesting like that, because it's not about that. How does the new the way you show the new generation of immigrants, like the second generation of immigrants, compared to the first generation of immigrants, their parents, fare, and how does that scene portray that?
Well, I think in the beginning, I did have a slight concern that people, because I'm Persian, I'm writing this role, that people will automatically assume she has, a lot of me in her, that people would automatically assume this is me in my life, which, I of course draw from my own experiences, but I also draw from the experiences of many other Persian women that I know, who've been growing up in Norway. In particular, this scene with Fariba's father finally defending her after they've had so many fights about the way she's living her life. It was partly based on experiences where I very often felt my father and my friends' fathers being very hard on them face to face, but also hearing how they would defend their daughters in other settings. So, and this whole episode of the 4th episode of Immigrant-ish, for me, it's sort of a love letter to our parents. It's a declaration that, we see the struggles that they went through. We see the struggles that they have to stand in every day to defend both leaving their countries, staying here, trying to live a different, oftentimes a better life for us. That, they made all these huge decisions. My parents left Iran in 1986 with 3 daughters. They were younger than what I am today, and they started from scratch. And they still have to defend their choices to, other people they meet. So this is sort of our way of showing like the loneliness that they have to experience being here, and how they try to find a new community to belong to and how they're just trying to, love us and let us live our lives. We wanted to just acknowledge the fact that, we see you. We see what you're doing.
You made Tuna cry, Bahareh.
Again? and that's very important, because when we were writing these scenes, some of the scenes were so personal, so deep, even though I wasn't drawing directly from my own experiences, but just writing them was having such an effect on me that I would sit there and cry while writing, and I would send scenes or episodes to Tuna, and she would come into my office and cry with me, because she felt the same thing that I was writing.
And I feel it now.
And so there's a lot of drama, there are a lot of tears, but there are also a lot of humor. And can we maybe talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Let's laugh a little.
What scene are you thinking about?
I was thinking about a scene in episode 4 with Helen and her sister in the kitchen with her mom, with her sister's boyfriend. So in episode 4, we're from the parents' perspective, and then we get to experience what happens when Helen leaves the house.
Günaydın, ne haber?
Günaydın. Haberler sende.
Haberleri?
Hiçbir şey.
Jo, jeg ser det her noen siden.
Kimdi dün akşam seni bırakan adam, o varebilli?
Ingen var på date med.
Er ikke det litt rart å date med en sjåfør når man er en lege?
Ikke at det har noe å si, men Osman eier faktisk budbilfirma. Så var det veldig hyggelig, så jeg skal møte han igjen denne uka.
Osman mı dedin?
Turk. Ja, men hvor jobber? Oi! Wow, oppe før klokka 9.
Gravide trenger faktisk mer søvn.
Det er hans unnskyldning da.
Günaydın kızım. Günaydın Peter. Good morning.
God morgen.
Har hun stått opp på feil veien i dag også, eller?
Peter, jeg så at foreldrene dine er på tur igjen.
Ja, bare en tur til leiligheten i Spania.
En eller to.
Det ser så fantastisk ut der. Moren din stråler når hun er der. Jeg skrev det til henne også på Facebook. Du stråler som en vakker solskrev.
Ja, men det ble hun sikkert veldig glad for å høre.
Peynir ver kızım çocuğum.
Beyaz peyniri?
Beyaz oğlum, beyaz.
Beyaz.
Doğru. Du er flink.
Tusen takk.
Çok flink ya.
So it's how did you tackle the balance between humor and comedy and the more sensitive and serious subjects the series copes with?
We had a lot of humorous things we wanted to write about, and we were actually looking at it a lot in the editing, because we were going from like a sensitive scene with a funny twist and then like a really dramatic one after. But I think it just gives the series a good dynamic. And then this scene that we watched, it was fun because Helen is very uptight and then she's very strict. So when she leaves the house, there's just like a different atmosphere. Like her mom and her sister has a different chemistry. And with the boyfriend, I think we had a lot of fun with the language, like they're mixing language when they're talking. Her mom is really trying to teach him Turkish words, which was funny to me because I'm the big sister in my family, and actually the girl that plays the little sister is my sister. But I was the one that was living in the basement with my boyfriend, and my mom was trying to teach my Swedish boyfriend, Turkish. So this is actually more, I'm the little sister in this scene, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
we talked earlier on about the series being produced in-house, and also briefly about the series being cost efficient. How does Immigrant-ish compare to the rest of your slate on the NRK, fiction-wise?
We do drama in different price levels. We do drama at different price levels. We do the extra small as Scum, and we do the extra large, which is, you know, big international budgets. So this series is 1/5 of the price per minute compared to another series that I also am working with for the moment. And I think that is very important that you do drama in different price levels, because when you do cost-effective drama, it also encourages you to risk more and be more daring. It is very, very important for experimenting. It is very important for bringing out new talents. When you do the high budgets thing, there's so much at stake, so that you could easily try to copy a former success instead of bringing something fresh and new into the drama world, which I think it's very important at a time when there's so much drama and so hard competition. You have to bring something fresh.
Tone is responsible for a lot of the great, beautiful, very expensive drama at NRK, and this is you know, more cost effective. But Melike and I never wrote it as a cost effective drama. We didn't have to like have that in mind. We're used to writing cost effective drama from our previous experiences, especially meeting on the soap show. But we don't look at this as, you know, we don't feel like we had to write any less dramatic scenes or use sets that were inauthentic to our story, or I don't think there might be just one location that we wanted to shoot that we didn't get to do, but we still made it work. And you know, the series, as you see, the cast is so big and so beautiful and so varied, and so there's a lot of aspects to cost. Yeah, sorry.
I was thinking of what I would have done differently if we had more money, and it's not much. I guess it's maybe like one Turkish song that I wanted that we could buy. It's maybe some more time with the actors. Like, it's just like stuff like that. It's not big things.
Exactly.
You wanted the final scene in Istanbul?
Yeah,
you didn't.
In Turkey. Yeah, that's the one that I was referring to.
Yeah, obviously that would be that's a bigger thing.
Yeah.
Because in the end, it is a living room series. I mean, apart from the big scene at the beginning on Constitution Day, is that it? On National Day, and the scenes in Amit's bar. Most of the scenes are just like a few characters in a living room, a kitchen, an office, or whatever. So this, like from the get-go and from the genesis of this, it was going to be a smaller project budget-wise than other big ones. But like you just said, and you answered the question. That wasn't something you were thinking of while writing it. It's just that's how the stories you wanted to tell unfolded, right?
Yes, and especially when you mentioned the Constitution Day with Amit in the choir, we got a permit to actually shoot that on Norwegian Constitution Day. It wouldn't be very cost effective to gather, 5,000 people in a crowd as extras. that we could not afford, but we managed to be creative and decided to, try to shoot it on the actual day where it happens. And had wonderful people in the production team that made it happen.
The Constitution Day scene was, I think, in the end, more important than going to Istanbul at the end, because the Istanbul scene was supposed to be in a taxi, and the Constitution Day it's just something that everyone can relate to in Norway. So having that atmosphere right, I think, in the first episode was very important. So I'm really happy that we got to do that.
But actually, when the scripts were written, while we were developing it, we didn't really have a fixed budget. And when we have written all episodes, it was calculated to have a budget that was 25% higher than the actual budget that we got. So we have to axe down the budget, and we have to delete some scenes, and it was hurting at that time, but now we don't even remember them. And I would like also to give credit to the producer and the line producer, Cecilia, who was taking on so many jobs, and that also managed to make all the in-house people contribute in a very, very flexible way and do more jobs than one. It was very good in that way.
Do you think that's the kind of project that can be, or the way to produce it and how to do it, that can be industrialized and like done on a regular basis at the NRK?
Yeah. And we are doing it. Melike, while we were developing this show, she also got a job as executive producer for the youth drama, and she is producing a lot of shows that are more cost effective than this one. So she belongs to the department that did Scum. So she has been reminding us that, but this is not low budget. I know what low budget is, but
we have a lot of money.
Yeah, but I think it's also something in the culture of NRK and the in-house thing that they are contributing. They are working hard. We have very short shooting days, but people are effective. We have no big lunch breaks and so on. People are grabbing a sandwich, in half an hour, cup of coffee from a paper cup and the sandwich, and then they go on working. So it's a very good attitude and culture. I think why cost-effective drama is not so attractive for some of the independent sector, also because the higher the budget are, the more money you earn, in a way. So it is an economical side as well, and it's kind of high status to do the big fat series, but I really like cost effective as well. This is where I'm coming from.
So I'll pass over the blatant attack against French lunch and French lunch breaks on French sets.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
But so does this mean that those cost-effective dramas need to be produced in-house because it doesn't interest independent producers? And do you see that being becoming a kind of a rule of thumb that, like, if you go cost-effective, you need to do this in-house, and for the bigger budgets, you need to go find independent producers?
There are a lot of differences between the independent production company as well. For those who want to kind of break into the business, they want to do TV drama. Some of them are, willing and also innovative enough to do the cost-effective drama. So it's not, one big picture, but I just think it's so important that we do the extra small and the extra large as well.
I will not tell you the contrary. You know that, Tone. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up. It's all the time we have. Thank you, all three, for sharing your experience on Immigrant-ish. Thank you again for such a beautiful series. That had a little bit more personal my way, maybe, but that was absolutely wonderful. So fingers crossed for when it's airing. Do you know when it's airing?
Week 38, and it's we always publish drama in the player, but this one we are also publishing primetime in our main channel. Awesome. And people thought, and when they saw it, oh, I didn't know that it was so broad, and they put it primetime first channel. So I'm happy with that, and I keep my fingers crossed that a lot of people will see it. Yes.
So finger crossed too.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for
having
us. Yeah. Thank you.